ever wondered why the story needs to feel truly Kenyan? Now, where am I coming with this statement? I'm coming with this statement from the fact that people have been talking about Kenyan productions and how they appear. And from the way back, tumekuwaga wase wakisema like, ile movie yenyu inakaa Nigeria. Have you ever heard of such a thing? I know people were asking like, so you wonder like, okay, what is Kenyan? What defines Kenyan? Now, I'm going to take you through some of the things that will help define a story to be Kenyan or to fill certain demographics so that we don't appear like we are copying some certain people or copying some certain movies or Hollywood blockbuster scripts and we are turning them to be Kenyan and making people to speak languages that are not Kenyan. Okay? So, what gives us the identity and the culture of Kenyanese in our films? So Kenyan will come from the settings, how we build our setups, because the settings is very distinct. You'll never see Nairobi anywhere else. You'll only see Nairobi in Kenya. You'll never see Nakuru anywhere else. You'll only see Nakuru in Kenya. You will never see Lake Elementaita anywhere else, but you'll only see Lake Elementaita in Nakuru County in Kenya. So, the setting is the first thing that qualifies us to be Kenyan. You'll never see some bit of white sandy coastal beaches called Diani anywhere else. It's only in Africa, in Kenya, in Mombasa, in Kwale County. So, you'll never see Kibera, the people of the way Kibera looks in any other place. You'll never see Kibera in any other place. You'll only see Kibera in Kenya. So number one thing that makes our story unique or our stories distinct is the setting. Number one, it is the setting. So one thing that will make your story Kenyan is filming on real sets and filming on real locations. Yeah, let's not copy Hollywood. Hollywood wame-exhaust masets zao na sets zingine hata zi-exist wanatukuwaga wametuma vitu na ma-AI wamepiga huko. But we have very rich places we can be able to explore. Even in this county and in this part of the country, which is Nakuru, we have a very, very massive, wonderful sets that have not been explored. Ni ile tu saa zingine hawa watu wa hizo sets wanakuwaga vichwa ngumu hawataki tuzionyeshe. KWS, ebu fungueni milango tunataka kuja kushoot huko kwa hizo masets tuonyeshe the world how rich our culture and our settings look. The other thing that we can identify as Kenyan is the language. Language will make us identify as Kenyan, like period. Like nana nongega sheng, nana nongega English, Swahili in this country, in this part of the world. Who does that? It's only in Kenya where people talk English, Swahili, like sheng, umechanganyisha na English, umechanganyisha na Kiswahili. It's only in Kenya we talk mashembeteng, sijui mungumimbwekse and stuff like that. And we have also languages, the dialect, like if you're a Luya, mlembe handi, mlembe. If you're a Luo, you talk like, abirainya kabisa, abirainya bon. If you're a Kikuyu, you say, negwedete muno. If you are a Kamba, a Costarian, manze, like, those languages don't exist anywhere else apart from Kenya. Yes. So that one makes the story Kenyan. So the language will identify it as Kenyan. When you're exporting the movie to different parts of the world, people will see this is a Kenyan story because it has the language. The other thing that will identify a movie as Kenyan is the characterization. The way we do, the way our characters appear, because looking at it in form of how we do things, like for example, bodabodas. I know they are Okada in Nigeria, but the bodabodas in Kenya, that is a different thing. And being that we have bodabodas, the way the people in bodaboda operate, like how they do their things, is way different from how the Okada people in Nigeria and even the bodaboda people in Uganda and Tanzania, the Bajaji and the ones, they do their thing. So the way we put people to dress, the way we put people to bring out their characters, even the Gen Zs. Si umeona Gen Z wa Kenya na millennials? Kwani unafikiria Gen Z wa Kenya wanafanana na Gen Z wa Tanzania? That's a story for another day. Let me sip water or coffee. Yes, Gen Z wa Kenya si kama Gen Z wa Tanzania. Na Tanzania bana, mkuje pole pole. Anyway, the next thing is the thing that will identify us as Kenyan is the cultural sense, the traditions, how we do things. For example, if you want to tell a story about Rorasho, Rorasho is only in Kenya, bwana. In that Kikuyu community, if you go to the Kalenjin, they do it Koito. Yes, there is no Koito anywhere else. Koito is in Kenya, bwana. So you cannot say like, yeah, hii movie sijui inakani ya Tanzania na juu iko. Koito is in Kenya, bwana. So the cultural, how we identify the cultures of how we do things, of how we do our education, our way of life, it brings out. Even when we watch movies that are depicting certain ways of life, how we do our food, how we do our meals, how we do our greetings, how we do our marriages, that one is purely Kenyan. I know we've borrowed from the white wedding, but before the white wedding, we do the traditional one, and the traditional one is not the same. One for Uganda and one for Kenya, not the same. Is not the same. Even in Nigeria, not the same. Good. Then also the themes that matter. So, for example, in our country right now, what matters is we have a lot of unemployment issues. We have issues to do with femicide, issues to do with our education system is quite a bit wanting, and how we have the political affluence and influence in this country. So those themes, they are very Kenyan because of how Kenyans have depicted them. Because if you look at the political life in Tanzania and the political life in Kenya, they're totally different. If you look at the education system in different parts of the world and the education system in Kenya, we have ours that is very distinct. So even the issues of femicide in Kenya and other parts of the world, you find in Kenya, mtu ameuliwa juu ya kupikia mwanaume ugali. You see the things that some news happen in those parts of the country whereby ati mtu aliua mwingine kwa sababu wa kupika au kuchinja kuku Christmas. Yeah. So, having said all this, I know you'll have a disputing like, unajua hiyo series si Kenyan, it doesn't feel Kenyan. Wewe tazama na uone kama watu wanaongea Kiswahili, kama watu wamevaa kama nguo za wa Kenya, kama watu wana behave venye majenzi wa Kenya wana behavigi, wewe jua tu hiyo ni Kenyan. Wacha stories zako hapa mingi za kusema sijui. Watch, enjoy, get entertained and move on. If it doesn't fit you, enda watch vitu zingine. Si ndio? Utafute vitu zingine zinakufaa. However, people have the freedom. People are allowed to tell their story. If you want to tell your Kenyan story the best way you can, build your world, write your story, tell your story the way you want it to be told, and let people who are willing to tell their stories the way they want to tell them, let them tell them, because there is an audience that is really liking what they are doing. And having said that, from the things that I've mentioned, things to do with the language, cultural nuisance, and themes, hizo zote zenye zinafanya tukue story ikue Kenyan. Just understand that this is something that will keep us distinct from other areas. If I do my movie in pure English and I don't show anything that will depict Kenya in terms of even my setting, because a house you can have a house in Nigeria and a house similar looking the similar house in Kenya. You can have a similar house in the UK. But when it comes to the streets and the way of life of people, those ones will usually distinct your story. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for following. And having said that, write your story, export it to the world. Tell your Kenyan story and export it to the world. The world is waiting to watch that Kenyan story because they don't know about any other culture. They just know their culture. I cannot start telling the story about England, yet I'm not an English person. I'm an African, I'm Kenyan, and I will tell a Kenyan story so that that English person can understand this is what happens in Kenya and appreciate our culture and learn from it. Until next time, thank you so much for tuning in and watching. Cheers!